what's it called? The what rites though? 5 rites, but like
The
Tibetan.
5 rites, the Tibetan 5 rites.
And is that like the ones where it's like sun salutation kind of thing? Is it similar to that?
Well, the first one is like you spin, actually. You spin counter. No, you spin clockwise. I hope I'm spinning right now. I got to go double check, but I've been spinning clockwise, not counterclockwise. Anyway, you work your way up to starting with 3 all the way up to 21, like over a period of however long it takes you to work up to 21, but it should be like every few days, increasing by 3 more repetitions. So that's the first one, that one. And then the second one is like a
like
stomach
like
thing.
a
Your legs are in the air.
hardcore
It's like a
spin
stomach.
with your arms the whole way outside, or just
Yeah.
like does it matter spinning around with your
Yeah,
arms?
I mean, I kind of feel like I'm one of like the what are they called? The you know, the guys who spin not the Sufi guys. What do they go? I forgot. But you know what I'm talking about, like the spinner, like the yeah, like that's what I feel like. Your arms are out and you just spin. And you're supposed to like focus on like, you know, one point in the wall and then you just keep spinning. And then you get dizzy. So you're supposed to lay down and like get not dizzy anymore. And then, but some days I'm dizzier than other days. I don't know why. And then, and like some days I'm not dizzy at all, actually. And then there's one that's just
really
like your feet
helps
up in the
your
air and
balance,
then you're doing crunch.
Oh,
I guess so. Yeah, because you're supposed to stay like, you're not supposed to go off to the side. You're supposed to stay in the same location, which is why you have to work up to 21. And then the third one is just like a stretch, like it's just like a kneeling down, like back stretch, but you can feel the stretch all the way from here. So I'm always like, oh, maybe this is helping me. Like it's supposed to tone up your like, you know, your chin and stuff.
Yeah.
Where was I? Oh, when I was with Pedro the other day, we were driving past this thing. He's like, oh, you see here? It was just like this, like horrible, like road that was decrepit and just a mess. And he's like, yeah, I did work on this road like years ago. That's where I found a lot of the like these figurines and stuff. He had given me a figurine a long time ago, like a pre-Hispanic figurine, but I can't find it. It just disappeared. Like it disappeared.
Wow.
I don't know where it went. It just disappeared from my
one of those little, like almost little alien people who is like looking up like that.
It was a strange little figurine piece that I can't even remember it anymore. I wish I had it. It was odd. It wasn't fully intact, but the head was there and like part of the body, but I do remember it being odd. Like, and I felt like really drawn to it. It just disappeared. Anyway.
Isn't that crazy though, that they just like, you know, like,
yeah, that they just build on top of it. And there's just like a shitload of like, just
horrible. Hold on. Yeah. I'm going to go get one of my Amorites and show you, like, there's a construction site. Like there's stuff like this. It's like, you don't like they're building on top of Dinosaur. I didn't realize how many dinosaurs are in Dallas. Hold on. Let me go show you this thing. It's really cool.
We'll find out.
This weighs about 25 pounds.
Oh my God. So that's amazing. That is freaking amazing.
This is just like, oh, let me show you the other side. Like, this is like so huge, so heavy. It's like concrete, but it's like super heavy. They're just, I don't know. I think I found like 8 or 9 looking like 2 hours.
Wow.
Around. They're like, they just don't give a shit. They just bulldoze over them and they're building houses on it. And so like I'm going on the weekends when they're not working so that I can get as many as I can find before, like I probably have another week or 2 before like they start building houses and it's over, you know? And I've been finding so many cool things like that. And I'm just realizing like that's what's happening like everywhere. Like we just, they find dinosaur bones a lot in this area. I didn't even know that, but apparently they do. And they don't say anything because they don't want to have to stop the dig, or they don't want to have to stop the construction.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what happens here too. So that probably happens everywhere. So so you're just like, how do you find that? Like you have to dig for it or what? It's just like there.
Well, it's like
oh, walking around.
They've already
like, oh.
dug for it. They've like completely destroyed everything and like they've leveled it to where they want like a house here and a house here and a house here. And so I just like walk on the ground and like throughout the rubble, you'll see it. You'll see them. Yeah. So this is just like a place in Fort Worth. Some geologist told me about it and I was like, well, I'll go check it out. Like, come on, like me and my brother, we went down there and checked it out and he wasn't lying. He's like, and there's some that are like too big to carry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow. That is so crazy.
Yeah.
So cool.
It's super cool.
Nice.
I mean, I don't know what I can do with them. Like, let's maybe try sell them,
Well,
but
you're just gonna sell them. Are you gonna get that table with and that like thing that you're gonna do with your
the show,
club, right?
yeah, totally gonna sell these, the giant piece of petrified wood, bunch of stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I don't
and see if somebody wants them.
we'll see if somebody wants them. I don't know if they will or
Yeah,
won't, but I mean, if not, they're super cool. To like, I won't don't mind having them like put
right.
in my garden or something.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Or, like have a display. You can have your own
Well, the
museum.
good
You're
ones
gonna,
like that, I would. Well, and actually, like I tell my brother, I'm like, we keep the best specimens of everything because I
yeah,
eventually would like to like have some sort of little museum of stuff. I got enough.
right, exactly.
I got stuff going on. I got like a meteorite collection. I have tons of.
Yeah, you have tons of stuff.
I
You
got
have
tons of
like
stuff.
you're gonna have your estate and just a bam.
Okay, so I had a interesting thought that happened to me. Okay, so I was coming back from Houston and I was like looking at I was on the highway and it was a ton of just beautiful like wildflowers. It's like the wildflower season. And there was all these like little yellow buttercups and then the sky was like 100% just that beautiful baby blue with those like white puffy clouds and there was like really big tall pine trees or whatever and I was I had just gone to the bathroom, I wasn't hungry, my temperature was perfect, like everything was just like divine. Like I felt amazing. And I was just like, I always had like this experience where I felt like the consciousness of what's conscious, like looking through me. And I felt like, and for a moment, I wanted to cry at how beautiful everything was and just like the gift of being alive. And then so then that made me just like, when I was driving, I was thinking to myself, okay, I was thinking to myself, about how we like human being human and humanness and I got some thoughts and it was like I think that uh, like if you're an angel or a demon in a way it doesn't matter like which side of the polarity on you're very you're yeah, you're not your own in a sort of way, meaning like I think like angels might be messengers for God. They're like sort closer to the source and like uh demons if that's even the true concept. Okay, even or maybe if we don't even want to go in that concept, but I'm just saying like maybe other entities or other things, other expressions of your consciousness is dealing in other realms that are not what we are, okay? And I feel like we are at the in the infinity loop. We're like we're almost like in the center. Like to be a human is the center. So it's such a beautiful gift because we have this sovereignty thing, right? So we are basically getting to feel what it's like to be one thing, which is not normal. You don't always have this separation feeling. A lot of times you have this you
Like
do have this
unity.
all oneness feeling, yeah, which
Yeah.
is cool. That's like whatever, but this is also cool too. Like this is a gift as well. And then so anyway, what like kind of was coming to me, I was thinking about the greatest gift you as a human can give to source is to find your yeah to find your passion and to find like what or to
Like your
find
expression.
your expression, yeah. Like it doesn't have to be like your talent or your like because I'm not saying that necessarily everybody has a talent or not, or that we would recognize as a talent. It's like sometimes we wouldn't, but I'm just saying like um you have to be your own unique, complete, individual, sovereign blend of you
Correct.
and whatever that in whatever way that expresses itself, as long as it isn't influenced by anybody else's. If you are rotating in your own universe and you are your own thing, like
Yeah.
that's the best gift and that's the best use of this machine
Right. Because
that
it's
you could
that's
possibly.
authentic. That's your authenticity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. And it is a gift, exactly, because you're just expressing, like divine is expressing itself through you, and then you are by you expressing your fullness and staying true to yourself, or being your own, like you said, like having your own gift, like expressed, you're giving that gift back to
Source. Yeah.
the universe or source, exactly. Cool. I know, I
Yeah. So I mean,
love
like
those
that's like
epiphanies.
yeah, I love those too. It was like just an interesting like little train of thought that I was thinking, but it really made me, because I think a lot of people, we contend with each other because we're all like in this together, and we're like a herd animal, and in a way we are the neurons of the planet. So yeah, we do have a collective nature, but
Mhm.
I guess the thing is like, because of that, I think we play in the hierarchy game where we give our power away to other ideas and people and things, and we don't even know we're doing that, and we're even taught to do it, you know. So it's
Mhm.
really interesting, because I don't think that is um that's not the best use of this, of your time on the planet. It's just not. So
Well, that reminded me of the ISB, like ISBs are here to express ourselves, but part of the ISB's desire is to have other people buy into, I guess, for lack of a better word, but to buy into your idea of expression, because then other people like are kind of giving you their light also. So I guess that's where the ego comes in, but that's something to like that we deal with in this reality, because it's like, that's true. We're constantly giving our power away, and maybe getting it from other sources that aren't authentic, either through source or through ourselves.
well, and
Yeah,
there is that constant validation yearning
yeah,
thing.
exactly. Right. That's part of this. That's part of what we live in. When you were just mentioning that, I was thinking like, okay, we think that, or at least like we have this idea that this universe or this source is the greatest and like better than us in some sense, but and which it is, because it's a compilation of everything, I guess, and it's just, it's one, but at the same time, like, we are so important that we're not less important than that. Actually, they like, we need each other the same, like the source needs us the way that we need source, or I mean, need again is
Well,
another word
I
that
mean, and I
doesn't quite
also
fit
kind of,
what I mean.
yeah, but I also, I mean, I really have this understanding of we are source incarnated. Like we are,
We are source incarnated, exactly,
yeah.
so we're no lesser.
No, I mean, and
Yeah,
we're still feedbacking into the, like, we're still mirror feedbacking into the loop, of all. And the
right,
value is just as great, no matter like what you were, or how long you lived, or what you did, or like it's all information, I guess, and you just can't put a
right.
hierarchy on that. But I also feel like um I want, in relation to the as above so below thing, I was recently
Yeah,
thinking.
here, wait, this is what this line says, and then say what you're going to say. Not as below as above, and not as above as below, comma, as below so above, as above so below. Yeah, so below, meaning like, therefore, okay, this is what I got from that, like, so below, like, therefore, like, as below so above, like, therefore above, like, because like it can't exist without the other, like, as above so below, like, therefore, like changing so to therefore, meaning that it has to be, or therefore above, like it's just with one and the other, it's like two of the same.
Hmm. Okay.
But I don't know if that really makes sense, but in my head somehow it does. But anyway, what were you going to say about the same
Oh, about
expression?
as above, so below thing. I started thinking like really literal about it, where I will be like, okay, how does our cells work in on a microscopic level? when a cell divides and becomes a new cell, like, I'm wondering if, like, are there floaters or like for space travel? Okay. So like if like let's say the planet is in the cell of some big beast, okay? And like all the stars are other neurons or other, and all the planets are other cells or are blood are white T cells or like some kind of whatever the order is. I don't know. But like let's say
Right.
all of this stuff like that's as above and then so below. So okay, what I'm
Right.
thinking is maybe we can know things about the nature of possibility by knowing what, like, okay, I don't know if you can break out of your cell as information from your cell and go into another cell. See what I'm saying? So like could we break out of this planet and go to another planet? Could we be like spacefaring all over the body of the universe? Or like so like does something in that do that within our body? Is that how viruses work? Or is that or is that
Well, okay,
what?
maybe this will help clarify it, but I'm not really sure. But I was just reading that the heart is right. The first thing that is that like when a being is conceived, the first thing that appears is the heartbeat, right before the brain.
Right.
But
Cool.
it turns out that there are brain cells in the heart. So, right. And also stem cells are everything. So stem cells are its basic cell. It can be programmed into anything, any other cell. So I would guess that yes, it could be anything. Like you
Well,
could go to another planet, right? Because you
yeah,
could
that's
break
like
out of
what's
that
that called?
cell
Like
and then be
cell morphia or not cell morphia. I can't, there's a term that I used to know about that where it's the idea is that well basically you started out as a single cell organism, like right? Like you were
right,
an egg and a sperm and then you split into two or you became an embryo and then you started splitting and dividing or whatever and then how does each cell determine what it's going to be, um cell differentiation or whatever,
right.
and so yeah, okay, so I guess I need to look more into the microscopic world than I do because I feel like we like I said, like if we look at that as our measure of what we can see below, because I bet you there's way more below than below that. But
Definitely.
if we use that as our measure of that, I wonder if we can apply certain principles of that to the above the macro, like the out of this.
Well, I think that that's true. I think that's the whole thing with the fractal, and that it's an infinite amount of below and an infinite amount of above. It's just never ending. There's no end to it. And that, yeah, it is this, it's the same. What else are you looking for? Like to me, there's no difference. You can
Well, I
continue to
mean,
get,
like I'm
yeah,
literally looking for well, I mean, literally I'm looking for ways to um teleport or like cuz like I know that they've like apparently like there's corks and stuff that can like appear
right, right.
I mean there's things that can do that microscopically. So like how are they
Yeah.
doing that like
How do
um
we do it as a full being?
as a
Yeah, because
full big
now,
being thing, yeah.
yeah, I think that that was part of the problem with the Montauk projects and all that, because they weren't able to get that far. That's much more complex than doing a quark or a little,
Well, and I do feel like a lot there's got I have this feeling that's not based on anything except for maybe wishful thinking that there's going to be some kind of enactment of our inner consciousness that allows us to do things like I said, like maybe telepathy, maybe extreme teleportation or like whatever, I don't know, flying or like who knows whatever it is we could do. I feel like there's like part of me almost feels like we could do it now, we just don't know how to use our machine. But I
exactly.
which yeah, that might be the case in a lot of ways. But you would think somebody would have accidentally figured something out by now. Like yeah.
I think it's maybe some of these things have to come to a certain amount of mass consciousness, which is what we're going, which is because like I remember, what is his name? Mathematician, very, very smart guy. Anyway, he was talking about how he went into into the some pyramid in Egypt. I don't remember where he was.
Was it Grant?
And
Somebody Grant? Like you like?
yes, Grant, exactly.
Okay.
Robert Grant, exactly. And that there was like the a symbol that appeared on one of the on like a big slate of, I don't know, something, but the symbol was not there before. And so his thought, or at least the comment that I got from this comment that he made, was like, that it wasn't there before because the consciousness wasn't there before. So it has to be, it doesn't appear to the eye, or doesn't appear until like pretty much all the students are ready. That's the type of thing. Like, it's just, so if we're, maybe we need to get to a mass consciousness because we don't know how to use the technology.
I mean, that makes sense in terms of the there's some Amazonian tribe that doesn't see a certain color, and because they don't have a language for that color, and there's nothing anatomically wrong with their eyes. It's never been in their vernacular, so they don't
Identify
recognize.
it.
I don't know if it's red or blue that they can't see. And then also they say that because Russians have like maybe 30 to 100, I can't remember what the exact number is, but they have a lot more names for variations of blue, so they
No.
technically see
Oh.
more blue than we do, or they see more in that light spectrum than we do. So that's
Oh,
interesting how
right.
language can
That's
form.
amazing.
Yeah, so then you're kind of going like, okay, well then that does go into the power of thought and the power of your language formation, which also is concerning considering that apparently our language is being dumbed down and we have like a lot of,
Yes, but at the same time, I mean, that's true. That is true. We use less vocabulary now than we did like
we have a
50 years
lot less
ago.
nuances for things, like we just let a lot of blanket terms cover things.
Right. Which is interesting because I was talking to one of my Israeli students and he was telling me about Hebrew, and he said that he likes English because there are a lot more ways to express things, and that Hebrew has a very, very specific things that have to be expressed, but there isn't as many ways to express it. So anyway, but we're going towards, if we're going towards telepathy, which is what we're going towards, there's no doubt about it, then we're not even everything's beyond words anyway. Like, words, I
Yeah,
feel like just
they're
mess,
limiting.
mess with everything. Like, it's cool. Actually, when I was listening to that podcast with those guys that you sent, they were talking about language, and they said like, okay, so there was like Babylon, right? So before that, everyone was able to communicate without language, and then all of a sudden, bam, God created languages, and there was all this confusion, and people can communicate, and that was part of the confusion. But at the same time, it's pretty cool that we're the only humans here on Earth we're only species on Earth that uses this written language, that we're able to read and write and communicate through geometry, and communicate with one another through sounds and also through the written form, which I think is pretty cool. So I wouldn't want to lose that on one sense, but on the other hand, I mean, how many things do you think you're just like, I can't explain that experience? Like, when something was just like, whoa, it's beyond words. So telepathically, we'll just have to communicate it.
Yeah, I mean, uh like when I've had my telepathic exchanges, it's been interesting because I feel like it's much easier to, well, I don't know, like they can speak or they can communicate much faster than we can telepathically, because like trying to figure out how to put formed expressions of all your thoughts in like a
The next way to
yeah,
express it,
a
or
big, okay, so like basically I'm talking about when I've had like telepathic exchanges with those light beings. Well, when I had that, it was like they came and it was just like boom, big movie inside my head that like I had already watched. It's just like big download just there, like, you know, and then the next one would come up and do that and that. And then you're kind of going like in your head, you're going like, wait, what? Why? Wait. How did it, you know, it takes it, we are so used to this like linear, like structured thing that I don't know how, for
Mm,
instance, like when you watch the lady, the animal communicator, the woman who does the telepathy with the animals,
yeah.
there's that's a really good documentary. It's called The Animal Communicator, but you watched it, right? That,
Mm, no, I've seen other like horse whisperers type of things, but not that.
her name's like Anne Brun. I'm butchering it because it's like a really hard to say last name. But anyway, she has done so. Oh, she went to Findhorn actually and did like a lecture on telepathy because she like speaks to like the animal community, and she talks about how
Sounds
um
familiar, actually.
yeah, she talks about how she um like, you know, you almost you express things in images and feelings with animals. And
Well, that was my other thought, because like, yeah, we don't know how to maybe bundle it up in a nice little package as a delivery, as a messenger, as part of the communication way of communicating, right? There's the sender and the receiver. So how does the sender package this up telepathically to send this message, and that the receiver receives it in a way that they can understand it? But I think that's thinking too much the way that we communicate verbally.
mhm.
And right now we're telepathically communicating with people, or at least non-verbally communicating with others all the time. We're
Well,
just
that's
either
true.
aware of it or not. So actually most of our communication is nonverbal. So we're already doing it. Like it's something like some linguists or people that study communication think that it could be up to 90% or more that we're actually communicating non-verbally rather than verbally, and the little bit of message that we're communicating. Now that's a huge percentage. I don't really buy that, but I have heard it's over 50%. It's like 60 or 70% of our communication is nonverbal. So what does that mean? Then the 40% left, let's say, that is verbal, that's what we weigh heavily on. So if you say a person's telling the truth when they say whatever, I love you or whatever, that's what they said verbally. So we expect that to be the truth. But we have to look at the nonverbal, which is where the
Yeah.
telepathy is coming in.
I mean, there it's interesting because I'm in this class right currently, and this I'm going in person, and there's a lady who sits across from me who I can tell does not like me. There's never been anything said. There's never been anything uh I just know.
Yeah.
I can just like it's almost like on an energetic level. I can sense her um annoyance with
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Of course. You can
yes.
sense those
I
things
mean,
for
you could
sure.
always do that kind of thing. It's interesting.
Yeah. But I mean, in that case, it could be with others too that she has it with. It's not, may not just be with you, but you usually sense that something's going on with the person. Like, well,
Mhm.
this person doesn't like me. Why is it that? And then you could find out later on, well, maybe they have some issue
Other
or they
stuff
don't.
going on, or
Yeah.
they're just or yeah, in a different frame or
Right.
whatever. Yeah, but yeah, there's definitely like a
Actually, that happened with me this weekend. When I was at Pedro's um, mom's funeral, and I there was an aunt there, one of his uncles, his uncle's wife, which is his aunt. Okay, but I felt that she didn't like me, and I was like, that's so weird. Why? I just get this vibe that she doesn't like me, and it was my first time meeting her. And then after they left, I found out that she has that same demeanor with everybody, and that she just comes across. And then I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I wasn't taking it personally anyway. I got over that of getting over, not taking it personally if people don't like me. But I did sense that. But then it turns out that that was just her general way of whatever. So, but you pick up on it.
yeah, you do. You do.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
true.
so there's a lot of nonverbal things, and it doesn't even have to be blatant. It can sometimes it can just be like I
Were
don't
you the
know.
one that, yeah, were you the one that was telling me about the the Russian spy, and the reason why they caught him, because we're people that study nonverbal communication, was that they weren't sure if this guy was actually a spy or not. And they were the FBI or whoever, CIA, whatever. They were like tracking this guy for a long time, and they weren't sure if it was him. And and they had encounters, and his English was perfect, and he grew up in the States, and he had all this stuff, and blah, blah, blah. And there was no reason to believe that he was a spy, except for when he went to go buy flowers, and he was caught on video holding his flowers facing down. But in the US, we would, if somebody buys flowers, they would probably hold them up when they were walking down the street, not facing the flowers tops down towards the ground, like just walking with them. Most people don't walk like that. It's not US culture. So that was the way that they found that that guy was a spy, because of that. But it was his nonverbal communication.
That was not me. I've never heard that story before. And I still am kind of going like, would I ever hold a flower?
You know, I thought that too. I was like, would I hold it? But probably not. But I wonder if other men would, you know, who knows?
Oh, well, that's my thing, is like guys are like,
that's a whole nother communication thing.
Yeah, that is.
It really, yeah, it really is. I mean, that's the whole men are from Mars, women are from Venus thing. What
Yeah,
else?
I mean, they just, it's so interesting. You know, having two brothers and then a sister and stuff. It's just, it's interesting to be able to, like, there really is some drastic differences in, I
Yeah.
mean, I knows it, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. Communication styles and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I go through that a lot with my students, actually, because we have they have meetings, and some of them are very multicultural. And I'm always like, we talk about that a lot, like these, like how different people from different cultures communicate. And then of course there's personality styles, and there's exceptions to the rules and all that. But anyway, you're in a meeting and you're expecting something to go a certain way, and then like there's these other dynamics, and I'm like, well, some of them are cultural, some of them are personal, but it's just what it is. It's but for people who are sensitive to that or observant of it, it's like, I don't know, sometimes it's hard to manage.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but the other thing is, it's kind of hard to, like, life's such a weird thing, right? Because we always have to remind ourselves to not take anything personal. You know, like I'm just saying, I don't think this chick likes me, and I just know it, and I shouldn't take that personal, because, I mean, it may have nothing to do with me, and, or, you know, and even if it does, it could be over something that, like, I'm not going to change anyway. You know, I don't know, maybe I wasn't wearing my mask tight enough for her liking, or, you know, I don't, it could be some weird thing, I don't know. um yeah.
Well, I mean, I always get hung up about that too. I think we all want to be liked, you know. Some of us feel that way more than others, but now I'm starting to do a lot like, it's that's her issue. If she doesn't like you,
Exactly.
that's her issue. It's not your issue. And you know, your issue is just to live your life and to, you know, treat people.
Or even things like, if you have a cultural misunderstanding, or like they're just like not your people, or they're not like how you would interpret something if you were given the same scenario or whatever. It's kind of just, I mean, I'm starting to get like better as I get older at just being like you said, like, oh, that's her issue, or just being like, yeah, it's not personal, like that's just, it's just not personal, like, okay, cool, that's their expression, let them have their expression.
Right. And not even to be judgmental about it, because it's not even that. It's like, all right, well, if you think about it, your world, your world and your world revolves around you. Like everybody's worlds revolve around themselves. So her world is revolving around her. So that's fine. It's like, okay, that's whatever. She's living in her world and I'm living in mine, kind of thing. Like, I don't know. It's like,
well, I loved that my friend Demetrius, he was on on the podcast, and he did uh he was explaining this, and he's explained this to me before, but like this whole notion that he has of, it's actually something he saw on his ayahuasca journey, but like he was talking about how like we're our own planetary system, our own little orbits or planets or whatever, or galaxies or whatever you want to call it. And we have a certain rotation, everybody within their own like center, they have like their own like rotation, and some people are going faster than you, some people are going slower than you, some people are going the opposite direction, some people are whatever. And you kind of get into people's orbits, like intentionally. You get into people who you're on the same orbit as. But every once in a while, if there's like so you're going this way and they're going that way, there can be like a ricochet where you're just like disjointed,
Absolutely.
and he's like, if you think about it, if you visualize your like planetary system, basically, whatever, and you just kind of feel into what, or if you think about things in like what helps your rotation feel good, like what feels like your pace, what's your thing, versus like what's like making you a little bit like he said, that's who you should be going around, like that's how you find your tribe, and that's how you get things kind of rolling. And when he says, and it's not personal, like they belong in a different body of systems, like they don't, you and them aren't going to be in the same, you guys aren't going to be in the same universe. So,
Right.
and I think about it like that, I'm like, oh, I like that. Actually, that kind of helps me unpersonalize it and make it more just about like vibes and flows and
Yeah,
frequency.
exactly. Vibes and flows. That's a very good analogy or way of looking at it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Who's like a Freemason or whatever. He, like, I was thinking, like, he's like, oh, I don't know if I should have said that or whatever. And I was thinking, I think we're getting to the point where it doesn't matter. I was thinking that I just feel like all this stuff is becoming accessible to whoever wants to have access to it. And so it doesn't matter that, like secret societies are just not, they're not going to be secret for long in terms of like the information that they have to release. Like
Yeah,
people can
because I
access
mean, it's like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You mean like it's. I feel like if this stuff's in the public domain, then like I think it should be. I don't know. I don't think even if you gave like secrets to mystery schools or secrets to societies like that or whatever, I mean, only a select few is going to look at it anyway.
well, only a select few actually have access to it. Like, I mean, the Freemasons, I don't really know that much about them, but I do understand that there's a lot of levels to them. So most of the people that get to the really top levels are few, just like every other pyramid or just like every other, hierarchical structure. So I don't know. It just seems to me like the people that are going to have access to it are the people that always have access to it. But at the same time, we all have access to it through the akashic records or just through our birthright. Like we still have access to this information.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter, like secret societies or even, I don't know. I guess we'll come to it when it's our time to come to
Well,
it.
I mean, honestly, it's just one of those things where they're no more incarnate than you or I.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's the way I look at things now, because it's just like, well, right. There's nobody that's better or worse than anybody else. Everyone's just having an experience. Again, just having an experience, just living their life. Like it's not better just because somebody makes money or is on the street and doesn't. Like a person, like a drug user versus like a heinous crime committer. Like in the end of the day, on this other level, like it's no better or worse.
Yeah. I think that's
Even
true.
yeah.